So you want to buy a brand new Proton and you tell your friends about it, right? But sometimes they'll come back and say, what? Why? Proton kan banyak makan minyak. So fuel consumption is high, you're going to be spending a lot more on fuel. So this is the one thing that Proton has to counter, and this is why they came out with the Proton One Tank Adventure, because they have a point to prove. So we've already done this last year, and we took a Saga at a time, and that went over 630 kilometers with just a single tank of fuel. But in the year since, Proton has been extremely busy updating all the cars that you see here. The Persona, the Saga, and the Iris, they're all new for 2019. The one with the biggest difference is, of course, the Saga with a new 4-speed automatic transmission. So that's the one we're taking again. So let's see whether we can beat our own record. We're going down to JB this time and back up 650 kilometers. Let's see if we can come back in one piece with just one tank of fuel. So let's get on with it. So first up, a quick recap on the Proton One Tank Adventure. This is basically a fuel challenge where you drive as much as you can using just a single tank of fuel. But at the same time, this is not one of those silly eco challenge where you do ridiculous things like drive for 3 hours with the aircon off, sweating all over, where you close your side mirrors to be a little bit more aerodynamic. No, we're not going to do all that. We are driving in a real world manner. So I'm on the highway, I'm doing about 80 to 90, I even touched 100 at a couple of points. There is also a time limit for each checkpoints because they don't want you to be driving too slowly, 50, 60 kilometers per hour kind of thing. If you do all that, you might get ridiculous numbers like 20, 30 kilometers per liter, but you know you'll never be able to achieve that in real life. With all the rules that are set for this challenge, you get more realistic numbers, something that you can definitely achieve if you drive your cars properly. This year we are in the brand new 2019 Saga going down south to JB, and then tomorrow we're going to go back up. So we will cover up to around 650 kilometers. But so far it's looking very good. We have covered about 90 kilometers so far, and according to that, the trip computer, I'm averaging 4.8 liters per 100. That is more than 20 kilometers per liter. And as you can see, I'm on the highway. This is one of those long weekends in September, so there's a lot of traffic. So yeah, it's not like I can drive extra slowly even if I want to. There's a lot of trucks chuchot me from behind. It's quite scary, so yeah, I really do need to keep my speeds up as well. So we've just reached our first checkpoint, this nice farm orchard called Eco Dobem, somewhere in Ayakuro. So over here we're going to try out some, well, local Malaysian fruits, and there's also a challenge for us to eat some durian. So I'm planning to take it open and then my camera guy will eat it, I think. So yeah. Yeah, let's go. Last I checked, there's no I in team. Oh. Bro.
I'm sorry.
It's not funny, bro.
I'm so sorry, man.
Hey. So now we're just out of the first checkpoint, heading to the second one in Batu Pahat. So yeah, just had lunch. I'm really full because I had to finish an entire durian by myself. No thanks to my videographer teammate over there. But never mind. So we are about 200 kilometers into the drive, and we are deep into small little back roads now, through school lanes, through a lot of traffic lights. So now our average fuel consumption has gone up quite a fair bit. Now it says 5.7 litres per 100 kilometers. But at the same time, we've gone 200 kilometers, like I said, and the fuel bar has only dropped by 1 single bar. But then again, this is one of those digital bars, you know, it drops by bars and bars and bars, which I don't really like. I prefer a traditional analog dial, but yeah, anyway, doesn't really matter. Anyway, while we are in this car, let's talk about it. The new 2019 Proton Saga. First impressions are really, really good. From here, it's really quiet. It's very, very refined. It's comfortable through all these back roads. A lot of potholes here and there, but this car just glides through them. It does not feel like an entry-level car, I'll say that. So it feels rather plush in here, obviously. It doesn't have, you know, leather on the steering wheel or the seats and whatnot, but for what you're paying for, 40,000 ringgit, under 40 to 40,000 ringgit, this is a lot of car. The biggest difference from the old one to this new one is, of course, the transmission is now a 4-speed automatic instead of a traditional CVT. Well, it's not traditional, but it's something that you've gotten used to by Protons, right? The bigger difference is in the initial acceleration. As much as they have improved the CVTs over the years, there's always that little bit of hesitancy in the CVT as soon as you step on the gas to move forward, to go away from a standstill. And in the latest Iris and the Persona, the CVTs are great. It's really direct and it's quick to respond, whatever not, but there is still that little bit of a lurch. And when the car lurches forward, there's that drone from both the engine and the transmission. With this one, it's all gone now. So as soon as you step off, it just goes away as you would want it to. And so yeah, first impressions, this is very, very impressive indeed. So that was checkpoint 2, which was a complete bust because of the haze, which is absolutely terrible. By right, we were told that the view there would have been quite nice without the haze, but you can actually see over the ocean and to check out Indonesia. But yeah, it's the way it is, can't see much. Anyway, so we're off checkpoint 3, which is Tanjung Piai Johor National Park near Pontian. That is about another 200 kilometers drive from today. So we'll end today with about almost 400 kilometers, and tomorrow we'll do another 250 kilometers, so to make a total of 650. Hopefully we can complete all that without running out of fuel. More on the car. This stretch of the road is all through the back roads, but it's fairly clear and there's a lot of corners, so here we can test out the car's ride and handling. So far, the Saga has always been one of the more softly sprung cars in Proton's range. It has always been targeted to offer more comfort, more ride rather than handling. For the new one, 2019, they've gone even further deeper into the comfort mode, and they've even changed the steering wheel a little bit, make it a little bit lighter than before, so it's more comfortable driving it through towns and whatnot to park. But at the same time, they made it a bit too light, so it's a little bit loose. It's not quite as direct on the highway. You tend to have to make small little adjustments to keep in the middle of the lane. But having said that, it's still much, much better than, you know, whatever else is out there. Say the Proton Asia and Beza, those are a bit tricky to drive on the highways. You really need to concentrate, if not you'll veer off. But yeah, this one is still a proper hydraulic power steering. even though the Personas and Iris have gone to EPS. The Saga is still on hydraulics, but I'm not complaining. It's still the best steering in the class. So moving on, I'll check in again tomorrow morning where we get to drive back up towards Aikaro, and then we'll see how much fuel we've actually used. Alright, we're finally on day 2 on the final stretch, going back from JB up to heading north to Aikaro for the final refueling point. Looking at it now, I have about one last bar of fuel left, and the range on the computer says I've got about 120 kilometers with about 110 kilometers left to go for until the checkpoint. But from our experience last year, this car's trip computer is a little bit on the, I would say, conservative side. Last year we were running with range showing 0 for about, I don't know, 50, 100 kilometers or something like that, and the car still made it through. So this time I got I'm not worried at all. This car should make it just fine. So before we reach, let's just finish up on what I think about the car. Well, I think they've really improved everything on, most aspects of the car. The one that I can see right now is the instrument cluster is now a lot bigger, a lot more legible, looks way better than the old car. But there's only one problem though, because of the seating position of the Saga where you sit fairly high, and the dashboard that is set really, really low, sort of old school in that sense. The way I sit, I can't really see the top of the speedometer. And I think the taller you are, the more of that meters are being blocked. So yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to fix that, but yeah, they're going to find a way somehow. Well, anyway, still looks better than before, so yeah, that's fine. The next big upgrade is the head unit. From an old school button type last time, now it's a floating screen. Looks a little bit like the one I had in my C-Class, but yeah. In any case, the interface looks good, it's easy to use. There's a slight issue with reflections under hot sun, but yeah, well, it's still a very, very good upgrade compared to before. And while we're on that, the audio quality is also surprisingly good for a car this affordable. For under 40,000 ringgit, this has the best sound system in the business. So on the whole, this Saga I think is a very impressive car coming from Proton. They have finally fixed most of its faults. The automatic transmission is great, it's very refined, it's so quiet on the highway here, it's so comfortable, it's so stable. You see the bus running past just now, I didn't have to adjust my steering wheel at all. It hardly ever gets affected by crosswinds or big trucks like that. It stays stable, planted at all speeds, and that's not something you can say about its rivals, where it's very light on the highway. You need to keep adjusting the steering wheel to keep in the middle of the lane. The steering here is not fantastic, but it's still far better than the other brand. But anyway, on the whole, like I said, the only thing that you can sort of doubt when it comes to the Saga is the fuel consumption, because of a slightly old school engine and what is perceived to be old school 4-speed automatic. But we are finally going to put that to rest with a proper fuel test. So yeah, we're going to reach there in a bit, so let's find out how this car did. That's right, no sweat. Okay, there you go, we made it in time and with a lot of fuel left to spare, easily basically. Well, there's about 3 liters left of fuel in there, and we could have gone for maybe another 50 kilometers or so. Overall, we covered a distance of 651 kilometers and we needed just around 37 liters of fuel to do it. Overall, that is averaging around, say, just under 18 kilometers per liter, and that also works out to around under 12 cents per liter with the current fuel prices in Malaysia right now. And remember, we did all that through very heavy, long weekend traffic, through a lot of city traffic, and on the highways basically we did about 80 to 90 kilometers per hour, keeping up with traffic, and on the back roads where most of the journey was on, we just kept up with the rest of the traffic. It's not like we were going really slowly anyway. So the next time you see people complaining about Proton having bad fuel consumption, maybe it's not the car, it's the driver. Well, anyway, this has been Hafriz Shah from Proton.org covering the Proton 1 tank adventure. Thank you for watching.